As Harper watched, he polished off a bottle of Glenlivet and set it beside two other empties. She sighed. He'd probably pass out before he remembered to tip her. Goddamn drunks would be the death of her. Harper squared her shoulders and walked up to the table, then knelt beside him so he could hear her over the bass line of Bon Jovi's "Lay Your Hands on Me." "Can I get you anything else, sir? Like coffee?" Hint, hint. He didn't even glance at her as he slid the empty bottles to the edge of the table and said, "Another bottle." His voice sent a shiver down her spine. It was gravelly, raspy, almost like he'd growled the words instead of speaking them. Sexy. But sexy voice or not, she wasn't about to serve him another bottle. He was probably a few inches over 6 feet and maybe a little over 200 pounds. But no one, not even a manly man like this one, could down 4 bottles of 18-year-old Glenlivet and blow a breathalyzer that wouldn't get him immediately arrested. "I think you've probably had enough for tonight." He slowly glanced over at her as if he hadn't really noticed her presence until just then. When her eyes locked with his, she completely forgot what they'd been talking about. Hell, who was she kidding? She forgot how to breathe. This had to be the most gorgeous potential serial killer she'd ever seen. He had a dark olive complexion most women would kill for, cheekbones sharp enough to cut glass, and eyes that were either black or the deepest blue she'd ever seen. It was too dark in the club to tell for sure. His perfectly arched black brows, and they had to be naturally perfect, because she was pretty sure this guy wouldn't be caught dead waxing, raised sardonically as his gaze moved over her. Harper fought the urge to suck in her stomach and desperately wished her uniform was a size 8 instead of a 4. She had dignity in a size 8, class even. In a 4, not so much. He lowered his gaze to her chest and then slowly lifted it back to her eyes. "I doubt they're paying you to think, sunshine." Sliding the empty bottles even closer to her, he repeated, "Another bottle." He'd said it very slowly, deliberately, in a manner most people reserved for slow-witted children and foreigners. The only part of her that wasn't at all impressed with a guy's fallen angel face, which just happened to be her Sicilian temper, kicked in at that point. Harper straightened and snagged the bottles off the table, preparing to verbally flay him. But just when she'd figured out exactly how many 4-letter words she could hurl at him in one sentence, a premonition hit her hard. People often asked her what premonitions felt like. "Imagine someone punching a hole through your forehead and making a fist around your brain," she always told them. This premonition was no different. Harper staggered forward and planted one palm on the table to steady herself as images assailed her. A young blonde woman in an alley pinned to a dumpster by a man twice her size. A vampire, she knew instinctively. Cold chills always shot down her spine when she saw them. Harper sucked in a deep breath and forced herself to concentrate on details other than the victim, just like Sentry taught her so many years ago. Instead, she tried to picture the dumpster, the buildings around it, street signs, anything that might tell her where this girl was so she could call the police and get her some help. And then she saw a logo printed on the side of the dumpster as big as life. Kitty Cat Palace. Holy shit, the vamp and his victim were here. Harper staggered back toward the kitchen, shoving drunks and other waitresses out of her way. In the kitchen, she tipped a wooden stool on its side and stomped on one of the legs. She bent down and scooped it up, testing its weight in her hand. Not the best steak, but it would do, hopefully. Normally in a situation like this, Harper would let Romeo go after the vamp first, then help him if necessary. After all, slayers, even crappy ones like Romeo, were 10 times stronger than the average human.